Crazy Waters. There's Terrell Sinkfield. Sinkfield earlier this season was on the other sideline. He was wearing Argo colors. Picked up by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Already has a punt return for a touchdown. We'll see more of him tonight as he gets deployed on the return game.
Well, the Tiger Cats have had return touchdowns out of 3 different players this season. Brandon Banks, who we'll also see tonight. Quincy McDuffie, who's on the practice roster. And of course, Sinkfield.
That's a very interesting section there tonight to see how things are going later in the game. Hamilton and Toronto sitting together. Quick hitter. The story in this game is Andy Fantuz. As the autumn leaves fall, generally, this is when Andy Fantuz starts to pick it up. Late in the season, and tonight already a couple of key catches.
And here, given time, he's on the hot side where there's going to be a free man. Claris is going to throw that way. Moses Madu doing one of the things that CJ Gable has done so well, picking up the blitz, looking after the quarterback's backside.
Claris is 8 for 8. The pitch to Madu, the high hurdle, penalty flag on the far side.
Well, it looked like there was a clip from one of the receivers. I believe it was Fantuz. Got his man in the back on that one.
Offside, Hamilton, number 84. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Bakari Grant, same side of the field. Early jump for him. We'll move the Ticats back.
26-year-old Zach Collaros from Steubenville, Ohio. Third year in the Canadian Football League. Here's the rush and fumbled football, and the Cats are fortunate. Mike Filer, the center, was able to be right there. Otherwise, that could have been a scoop and score for the Argos.
You keep an eye on defensive tackle Logan Harrell. He thinks he's going to end up in a position to pick this one up and run. They just empty out the backfield, try and spread things out. Helmet pops that ball out. See Harrell's right there, just about to scoop it when the center, Mike Filer, falls on the ball.
Second and an area code now. Collaros marks it out, has protection and time, and gives it off to Bakari Grant, who stayed in for some blocking help. Brought it up to the midfield stripe. It will be 5 yards short of a first down, and that will bring out Justin Medlock again. Almost 3 minutes gone in the second quarter.
An interesting look here from the Tiger Cats is they're going to bring Sam Giguère into block, also going to bring Bakari Grant into block. So they've taken both receivers out of the boundary side of the field. They're just working one side of the field with the remaining 3 receivers in the back. Nothing you see from the left hash out. Only using a portion of the field with that route because of what they've opted to do protection-wise.
Medlock goes to his right. Nice angled kick here. Chad Owens sees it bounce backwards. And he's waiting and waiting. Here comes Medlock. And Owens tries to pick his way up the sideline on a perfect pitching wedge with a little backspin from Justin Medlock. Argos right now pitching a shutout. No points on the board. Down to 10-0. Ricky and his offense back after this. Number 1 rush defense. Revamped defensive unit for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They're looking awfully good lately. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, I spoke to defensive coordinator Alonzo Steinauer before the game, and I asked him, Coach, where is your defense right now? And he said, as you referenced, Rod, the number of players they used, he said, listen, we're not at the point yet where we're perfect, but the guys are starting to communicate to each other and understand they're on the same page. And we asked Justin Hickman about it yesterday. He's just come into this defense, and he said what really surprises him is how everyone is thinking about concepts, how to react, how to be proactive rather than reactive. reactive, and to maybe build upon what Coach Lapo was talking about in his playbook. Maybe that's what we saw a little bit of from Simone Lawrence there, seeing tendencies and knowing how to execute. Guys.
Thanks, Matty. Orlando Steinauer, former player with both of these sides, a former coach with the Argos. When Justin Hickman was asked about the defense yesterday of Orlando Steinauer, he had one word: thorough.
Yes. Yeah, no surprise to anyone who knew or played against Orlando as a player. Definitely a student of the game, and that's the approach he's imparted upon his players now.
Ricky Ray's in trouble, and down he goes. Penalty flag, and did they get to Ricky Ray too late?
Well, we'll
Eric Norwood.
see if this ball made it across the line of scrimmage. This could be a grounding call.
And that's what indeed it could be.
Grounding the football. Toronto, number 15. It becomes third down at that spot.
One hopped it just before the line of scrimmage.
Well, you see Eric Norwood, guy who's been red hot of late. Quick move to the inside. Chris Van Zyl anticipating a contain rush there.
Just from his goal line. Big kick from Swayze Waters. Sinkfield has some room here. Look out now, and Sinkfield is hit by Swayze Waters, but he's going to take it to the house, or will he? No! What a tackle downfield to save a touchdown by Nick Rosamondo. But Terrell Sinkfield just dusted Swayze Waters. Looked like it was on his way for a touchdown. The former Argo. Rosamonda saves 6. Terrell Sinkfield was on his way to the end zone and gave a look to the Argo sideline.
Well, he did, but he gets help right here with the little block from Bo Landry, the rookie. Just getting back on the roster after a little injury delay. Takes out a couple Argos with that collision. But it's right here as he goes around the corner. Sinkfield, you're wondering what he's looking at. He's not looking towards the goal line. I think this was a little bit of the you cut me glance. Looking at the Toronto Argonaut bench, his former employers.
Zach Collaros, play action. Perfect night continues. Andy Vantouz dropped by Vincent Agnew.
Perfectly defended by the Toronto Argonauts, anticipating that bootleg. Faking the wide field toss to Moses Madu, but they had a man right there to contain Collaros, and the coverage to make the tackle immediately on Andy Vantouz after the catch.
Here's where Hamilton has struggled somewhat this season. Red zone inside the 20-yard line. Last in production, 39%. Argos trying to hold them and knocked down by Opoluugo. And that's the first incompletion for Zach Collaros. So the Argo defense holds here and will watch Justin Medlock come out and attempt another field goal.
We asked Scott Milanovic yesterday about his rookie defensive end, Tristan Opoluugo. He said, you know, he's not a guy who necessarily wows you with physical skills, but he's just been productive. A guy who goes out and makes plays. There's another big one for the Toronto Argonauts deep in their own territory.
Former Fresno State Bulldog Justin Medlock again. Perfect inside the 40 this season. Continues that way, and it's 13-0 Hamilton. Terrell Sinkfield helps out on that return. They've had 3 points off of a turnover and a first drive touchdown. The story so far, and also the big story. Almost every game we talk about the Tiger Cats now is this defense, which has been outstanding, really, Labor Day onward.
Yeah, that seemed to be the turning point. It was always a work in progress, whether in terms of trying to find exactly the right personnel, but also experimenting a little bit in terms of the scheme. But Orlando Steinauer seems to have found the desired mix of late. Getting great play from that defensive line and winning in the trenches is the key.
Play action, Ricky Ray. Second catch made by John Childs. Childs again played the first 4 games for the Argos, then got hurt and hasn't played since. 2 receptions in his comeback game tonight.
And got off to that very slow start, as you mentioned earlier, Rod. Only 5 catches in the early portion of the season for Childs, who was such a breakout star last season for the Toronto Argonauts. And hoping he can regain his form and provide a deep threat in that receiving corps.
Second down 2. Curtis Steele up the gut. Man of Steel with the first down, and that's going to be one of the, again, themes of this game, the subplots. The Argos have enjoyed so much success running the last few games, but can they run against these Tiger Cats?
Well, that's been the key, as you said, for the Tiger Cats defensively, is shutting down that run, getting the opposition into those second and longs, where a defensive line that does a nice job rushing the passer can go to work.
Here comes the rush again. Steele out of the backfield. A little juke with a midfield stripe, and Brandon Stewart made the tackle. Very close to a first down, spotted about a yard short, maybe a yard and a half short of the Ticat 50-yard line.
And Steele, as much as he's been running the ball of late, hasn't been as busy as a receiver the last couple games.
Ricky Ray carries himself. This is where Ricky Ray is at his best, even in a deficit. The panic button takes a long time to press for Ricky Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. The cool demeanor has been his calling card throughout his career. Ticats, of course, doing everything in their power to accelerate that panic.
Pump fake. Now pressure, and down he goes. Eric Norwood, who's had 6 sacks in his last 4 games, drops Ray for a loss, so it is a sack by Norwood.
Well, and they're setting up the deep route. You saw Ricky Ray with the clutch, pump and go here on the outside, and he's got an opportunity to get the ball to John Childs, but at the moment where he wants to throw the football, that pocket's going to collapse on him as Norwood hauls him down.
Now a penalty flag flying just before snap.
Offside, Hamilton, number 5. 5-yard penalty, and will remain second down.
There is one of the most interesting cats you will ever meet, even though he was penalized there. A very thoughtful guy, a guy who off the field isn't quite like what he is on the field.
And, you know, football players as a whole are a more cerebral group than stereotypes suggest. Justin Hickman ranks near the top of that list, and in a pretty cerebral group of guys, I don't know if there are many that actually.
Ray down the sideline, first down, and add 15 to this. John Childs is roughed up out of bounds. This will extend the drive even further.
Delvin Breaux, a little extra gusto on the takedown there at the end of the play. But certainly from an Argonaut perspective, good to see John Childs so involved early in this ball game.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton, number 27. Objectionable conduct, Toronto, number 2. That results in a 5-yard difference from the end of the play. First down.
So instead of 15, just 5, because Chad Owens also was flagged after this. Breaux taking out Childs, and then Owens coming in as well. Right into your living room.
And as you see the takedown, I'll just finish that thought on Justin Hickman. One of a number of bright guys, but not a lot of guys state their feelings or opinions quite as eloquently as Hickman.
Hickman retreats now, pass coverage. Ray, pass time, looking, and now in trouble. Justin Hickman brings him down. There is a flag down near the 12-yard line. That might be in an area where there might have been some illegal contact on a receiver. There is Justin Hickman, wore 95 in his last incarnation in Hamilton. Number worn by Brian Bulkey now. Bulkey out with injury for the rest of the season. His arm in a sling on the sideline. So Hickman came back and said he doesn't matter, one digit, doesn't matter. Number 5, he kind of likes it. He said it was a tribute to Kevin Glenn.
That's right, his former teammate.
Who actually wears 2 down with the BC Lions, but wore 5 for a long time with the Cats. Long time sorting this one out.
Illegal participation, Hamilton, number 27. That penalty would be applied at the last line of scrimmage, up 10 yards, first down.
So illegal participation, meaning that Delvin Breaux went out of bounds and came back in.
Breaux versus Childs again, you'll see him. Out of play and then back in to get involved.
Took Childs with them originally. There's the play right there. So right to the red zone go the Argos. 3rd in the league, scoring touchdowns from this area. Not this time. Nobody home. Ricky Ray just tossing it away.
Yeah, just a protect the field position decision there from Ricky Ray. You'll see Arnaud Gascon-Nadon come free from that end.
Penalty flag just flew, Dwayne.
Of course it did.
Objectional conduct, Hamilton, number 21. 10-yard penalty, first down.
This time Simone Lawrence, and we talked about the rivalry here. It is palpable. The hatred between these two sides. It's proximity, it's rivalry, and the fact that a lot of these players have played with and against each other or on opposing teams now, but previously with the Argos or Cats. Plus, it's that time of year. Meaningful game here tonight. 10th play of the drive. 1st and goal. Penalty-aided drive, and down near the 2. Craig Butler saved a touchdown. Jason Barnes hooking up with Ricky Ray again.
Jason Barnes, middle receiver. He's just going to come across underneath. Big cushion there. He recognizes that. Plenty of space to operate. Sits down in space to give his quarterback an outlet.
Big play here. 2nd and goal. 4 minutes to go before halftime. Ray's throwing. And caught! For a touchdown, Spencer Watt. Great catch. Great throw by Ricky Ray. Tightrope walk in the corner of the end zone from number 89, Spencer Watt.
And Watt's going to release left side of your screen, fairly close to the formation, giving himself lots of field to work with. And he and Ricky Ray use every bit of it on this one. Used to seeing the corner route as an end zone type route, not often from that close to the goal line. Way to play. They flatten it out a little bit, give him a little more width rather than length, so to speak. Not a lot of room vertically to work with, but they use the whole width of the field to let Watt get open.
Ricky Ray's 25th touchdown pass of the season leads the Canadian Football League. Spencer Watt's 3rd catch for a touchdown. Huge drive. The Argos needed a response, and if it's getting heated right now, it's only going to intensify.
On October 14th, X-Men Unite.
This is gonna be fun.